بإسلامي وإيماني أضاء الكون وزمن بإسلامي وإيماني أضاء الكون وزمن.
Now, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the first episode of our podcast, A Stranger's Perspective. My name is Hassan Taiwo, and I'm here with my friends, Abdullah and Ibrahim. Uh, just before we get started, why did we choose to start this podcast? I think we all know that in this time of ours, the 21st century, there are various things, there are various issues that affect everyone, us inclusive as Muslims. And basically, we set up this podcast to discuss them and the ways by which we were able to manage them and, yeah, basically manage them because there is a lot to talk about. Uh, I would like to give a disclaimer before we move on, and that is the fact that we will not claim to be experts in every field. Neither will we call ourselves ulama or imams or sheikhs, but we are simply here to give our perspective and our ways by which we've been able to handle these things to a degree of success. And we hope you all get to learn a lot by following our discussion. So I would ask my friends to go ahead. I'll start with Abdullah to go ahead and introduce themselves. So Abdullah, Bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Abdullah, and I'm a software developer. I guess that's everything there to say.
So Ibrahim, please.
That's a nice information to share.
Assalamu alaikum. So my name is Ibrahim, and I'm a PhD student in mechanical engineering. I'm studying at the University of Minnesota, Twin Cities. Yeah. So.
Okay. So alhamdulillah, they made quite a brief introduction about themselves. So I will introduce myself too. I am Hassan Yusuf. I am a university student and I'm also a software developer. I'm a university student. Let that stick. But moving forward, without wasting a lot of time, what are we discussing? What are we talking about? Like I said, the bulk of our discussions here are about contemporary issues, and today is of no exception. Today we are going to be talking about connected but disconnected. So I'm very sure, like everyone, you probably have one or two things in your mind going through and through about what do we mean. And in this 21st century of us, I believe you all know that it is not a new thing that the world is a global village. You can be, Ibrahim is in Minnesota and is talking to us Nigerians, and can also be anywhere in the world and be listening to us. We are connected more than ever, more than we have ever been in the history of humanity. Unfortunately, those things that make us human, those things that the physical connection, the ties of kinship that we are supposed to uphold has actually been affected a lot by this our long range connection, so much that a lot of people have lost connection with those values. And we know that in Islam, kinship is very, very important, and one must strive as much as possible to keep it intact. This is just a brief thing to talk about. I believe we will definitely have a lot of fun discussing it. And let's just start with introductory speech. I'll start with Abdullah. What do you have to say, just on a brief level, what do you have to say about this topic itself, and how does it relate to you?
Yeah, so the thing is, like you said, we are now connected more than ever, right? So technology is shaping the way we do everything in our life. So, and as we know, like originally, this technology is meant to support us, right? It's meant to ease our task, day in, day out task. You don't have to stand up from your house and walk all the way to United States to talk to someone. You don't have to send letter or anything. You can just take your handset, your phone, and just call the person. So it's meant to like support us, make things easier for us. So, but as much as this has a lot of positives, it's now becoming negative to us, right? So it's meant to support us, but now it's demanding way too much than it's now the one controlling our life. So from there, we've lost a lot of things. We've lost attention, we've lost concentration, we've lost connection with our families. So, we've put ourselves in this bubble, in this like technology bubble where we like live a perfect world, right? We expect a perfect outcome from everything. So yeah, that's what I think. I think we need to look into this technology. How can we actually make use of it to be useful, to be like for us and not against us? Not just in this world, like when it's against you in this world, you lose out on many things. When your friends are progressing in life, you are being relegated because all the time you're supposed to spend on useful things, you end up spending it on WhatsApp, on Twitter bans and all of that. So, and in the era after, it becomes against you again. So the time you're supposed to spend on tahajjud, on salah, on Quran, look at the world we live in today. If we ask average person today, did you read Quran today? Most likely to be no as an answer. So, and average person would have spent 2 hours on WhatsApp or so today. So it will be against you in this live and it will be against you in the year after. So we have to look into all of these issues, how we are going to make maximum use of this without being, a tool against us, both here and in the year after. So that's a short introduction to the topic from my side.
That's a pretty hefty introduction. So I think I would ask Ibrahim right now to talk about the impact of this distraction, whatever it is, social media, long-range communication, games, these distractions in whatever form they come on our ibadah generally. I have a lot to say about it, but I would like you to give us your take too before we open the floor for the real discussion itself. So please help us on that.
Okay, that's a big question you're asking. Well, I may not be able to cover all the parts of this question, but I'll just try and talk about a few parts, just relating some of my experiences with that. So impact of technology on social media. Firstly, I would say like it definitely has its positives and then it has its negatives. For instance, let me talk about the positives. For instance, my phone or technology, let me just say technology makes it possible for me to read Quran almost anywhere and without having to carry a hard copy of the Quran. And then also it makes it possible for me to listen to almost any reciter at any point in time. Like I can just pick up my phone. I feel like listening to Sheikh Abdul Basit Abdul Samad, and I can just listen to the recitation. And I can even get to the level of opening tafsir, like reading tafsir directly on my phone anywhere. And then I don't have to carry all the 9 volumes of tafsir of Asadi or tafsir Ibn Kathir. You can imagine me carrying those 10 volumes up and down. You understand? I'm not saying the hard copies are not relevant, but just like the flexibility you get with technology, you understand? Yeah, and also like the likes of the hardcore of stars like maybe Ustad Abu Nasir, Professor Alaro and all, and all the interesting YouTube lectures we watch. I mean, those things are also enabled by technology. So it definitely has its advantages, but at the same time, it has a lot of disadvantages.
Yeah, I think
you can become Sheikh Google to your phone.
Yeah,
definitely. I think I have something that relates to that. Like technology has made knowledge very easy to get, but it has also imposed a lot of distraction in that regards. Like right now, you can become a sheikh, but then the way to become a sheikh has become way harder because now you have to battle with all of these things that technology also came with. So for me, I mean, saying my home part, I think the impact it is very, very, very low level and is more than we think it is. For example, for Ibadah alone, it is very, very damning. Like you said, when you ask, did you read the Quran today? It's not about not having access to the Quran, no. It's not even about not having access. Like you literally have any form. Is it whatever you want? You check it, you have it there. But because you are busy doing other things, is when you check your digital well-being on your Google phone that you find out that God.
Stable.
And then if you have your nafs brother, I think you have been doing somehow. So it's
That's
hard.
awesome.
It is hard. So let's start the discussion on a very, very broad level. So what do we have to say? Abdullah, go. What do you have to say about this generally? The problem is deep,
Yeah.
very, very deep. So do you have
So you
anything that you want
mentioned
to say
that
about
you mentioned that it's not like you don't have access to the phone, right? It's not like you don't have access to the Quran, for instance. Right? And let's not talk about Quran alone. You know, you don't have to be a Muslim to be distracted by phone, right? So you don't have access to something you are supposed to study. Tomorrow is Monday, for example. Some people probably resume to school, some people probably resume to work. There are a lot of things that you're supposed to do. Not like you don't have access to those things, research everything. But for example, you take your Quran, right, or whatever, you want to read it, suddenly you get your WhatsApp, right? So the only intention that you have is, let me check this message and see what's up. So you check message from that message, oh, this message is also there. Oh, this status, wow. From the, this status, it's talking
Yeah.
about this YouTube WhatsApp link. You click on that status, it takes you to YouTube. From YouTube, the guy says,
Watch
subscribe to me on Twitter, right? You click on description, you click on Twitter. Before you
Yeah.
know it,
exactly.
you've spent 30 minutes or 1 hour going from one social media to the, and the way these things are connected these days, they've, like I said in the beginning, it has put us in this bubble. Like it has literally become our life, right?
Hmm.
Some people, if they've not opened Twitter, YouTube, WhatsApp, every day they wake up, something is incomplete, right? They want to
Yeah.
know what is going on, right? They want to know what is going on. And it takes like a lot of time. So that's one thing that I think is the major problem. We always we want to be updated on what's going on. I don't know if that's good or that's bad. I think we can talk about the benefit, the merits and the demerits. Probably Tyro can give us more about the merits and the merit of always wanting to know what's going on. Is that FOMO or right? So fear
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
missing out.
yeah. I think it's FOMO, is fear of missing out. And the funny thing is that it never helps. FOMO is a psychological issue. We all have a certain degree of it, yes.
Mm.
But when it's the problem is when it starts to affect our day-to-day lives. For example,
Yeah.
now living like on the normal, before we all became our eyes open to Twitter, life was just
Mm.
basic WhatsApp. Then Twitter
Yeah.
came. Then from Twitter, we know Discord. From Discord, we know Slack. From Slack, it keeps going. And like you said, they are very,
Yeah.
very connected. And then you think that, oh, if I don't get this gist, and Nigeria being Nigeria, hey, God, we know gist. We know that gist is always coming. So people don't want to miss out that. So as it is, technology, I also want to say something before anyone tries to misunderstand us. Like you see, we are not saying technology is not good. We are all
Mm.
software developers and we have a mechanic. Come on. So
We are not all
software is
software
good.
developers. We all have idea. We all have idea
But you
I'm not.
of
understand
software
that part.
development. Yeah.
But technology is good. It's very cool. I talk to my friends in Minnesota, Philly. Well,
No, I
but
mean
then
this communication that we are having, right, is the technology
the
that is
mo-
enhancing it. Otherwise, you would have to
exactly.
come from wherever you are, and I will have to come from wherever I am, and the brand will have to come from wherever he is. We have
Over
to
the
look
sea.
for a venue which you probably pay for, right? So you have to
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
then
find
have
a
this
lot of things,
discussion.
get
You have to
microphone
buy
and
camera,
everything. Yeah,
camcorder.
exactly. But just with our phone, we can sit down at the comfort of our home, right? And we can have like a lovely discussion, fruitful one.
Yeah.
So it has a lot
Guys,
of benefits, no doubt.
Please,
yeah.
No
let's
doubt.
let's let's talk let's talk about the impact, the family. Like, what is the Islam perspective on family, and how has this
Mm.
technology affected it? For example, now what me I know, let me just say the little before I pass the baton. Normally, you are supposed to be able to talk to your father, your parents, by physically talk to them. I believe some of us, a lot of us cannot handle that. Like staying in close proximity with your parents for a short period of time can be painful for some people. And that is because of the fact that they are very used to just saying, hey, dad, money has finished. Hey, dad, petrol has finished. Hey, all of those short send message. And they think life communication is just like a WhatsApp message, which is not necessarily true. And we know that Islamically, family is very, very important. So I don't know, maybe you guys have something to say about that.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, please go. Yeah,
Oh,
family
okay.
man.
Well, I think I'm not going to talk about the family part first. Let me even first talk about neighbors, right? So back in my community, or most places I've been to, let me just talk about most places I've been to. From my experience, I spent some time in northern Nigeria. I spent some time in southwestern Nigeria. A lot of time actually. So what I realized is like I think these days a lot of neighbors don't even know each other, right? A lot of neighbors do. When I mean know each other, I don't mean like when you see your neighbor, you don't say hi, you don't say hello, you don't say assalamu alaikum. That's not what I'm saying. Like a lot of times the places that I've lived in, I don't even know the names of some of my neighbors. If someone comes to me, maybe someone is trying to locate my neighbor and they ask me that, like, please, I'm looking for so person. I mean, a lot of times I'm going to be like,
Who?
I don't know, like, basically, a lot of times, I don't know. When I mean neighbor, I don't mean the person that is directly beside us, right? I don't mean the person directly beside my house, right? I mean person directly beside my house, like, person directly beside that person's house, and that connection of neighbors, opposites and all. But yeah, even neighbors that I don't mean neighbors are so close to us, but physically neighbors are actually very close to us. But
Yeah,
people
you have a point there because
so
as
not
a
talk of
community.
family, not talk of family that far away. Although that may not be a justified comparison, but I'm just giving an example, right? Someone that can't even connect to the person that is just right beside them. Although there are people that still can't connect to people beside them, but they're able to connect to their family. Yeah. But how many people are able to do that? Is the number of people that are able to do that is quite significant compared to the number of people that are able to do that? Yeah. So I don't know why that became the case. Maybe technology is also to blame, or maybe not, or maybe it has always been like that in those days.
I think
That's
the thing is, I think we become socially awkward, right?
Okay.
Like we are a lot of people are keyboard warriors. If you see someone posting status, replying to arguments, right, banting on Twitter, right, on YouTube comment, on Discord and everything, you think if you actually bring them to like meet them in real life, they will like be very articulative, they will be very friendly and everything. But you meet them in real life, you're like, what? Are you the one? Like, it becomes socially awkward. And I think one of the reasons is that the environment that you live, right, it depends on it makes up how can I say that? Like the way you become is actually due to the environment that you are in. So if your environment is virtual, right? If your environment is virtual, if you wake up in a day, right, you start by saying the sleep to WhatsApp. You look at right, you look at all the messages, you respond, you check status and everything. After that, let's say you are a good person, alhamdulillah, you go for salah and everything, but you come back, Twitter, everything. But there is no time like you actually go out and visit your friends, go out and visit your neighbor, right? The ones that are your friends, go out and, just enjoy nature and all of that. You become very terrible. It will become very difficult to interact with people. Right, but back to the case of interacting with our family, right? So because the right of family is actually something that is well emphasized in Islam. We all know that, like from Islamic perspective, is well emphasized. There is even an hadith of the Prophet about the kinship. Can anyone give me like an hadith, just a random hadith about kinship?
Right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember
I think
that.
there are quite a number of them.
There's one hadith from Aisha, she said the Prophet said, kinship is derived from Allah, and if anyone maintains ties of kinship, Allah maintains ties with him. If anyone cuts them off, Allah cuts him off. That's in Al-Bukhari. Kinship in that hadith, I think the Arabic word is Rahim, Silatu Rahim. I think that's what that hadith is about, if I can remember correctly.
So, which is basically connecting with your people, your family, right? So, kinship, your kins. So, if you connect it, right? If you connect it, you are getting closer to Allah, right? That's like the interpretation. So, if you make it disconnected, you are getting far away from Allah. So, it might be weird, like, why you guys...
I think Abdullah has a problem. So while he gets connected, I even wanted to say something that myself, I I had I just something that just came to mind when you talked about having the very very becoming socially awkward. I remember that our attention span is also causing problem. Like
Yeah.
a while ago, I was in my Quran class, and what I did was that I just received my Quran lesson, and
Okay.
after that, I was supposed to sit down and be reciting it. You know what I did? I
Yeah.
took out my phone and I started pressing. My teacher sent me
Okay.
away. They sent me away. They sent me like go away. And when I was now going, now called me back. That like you know what you did is very, very bad. Like at that point, what that was like a year or two ago, but it was not supposed to be because the fact that
Yeah.
at that particular point, that time was time for Ibadah, and I just
Um,
chose to use that time for something else. And it is a very, very huge issue. And I think right
no.
now we cannot stress too much about the impact of social media technology on our ibadah. It has helped it, and has also what taken away from it. It has helped it in what way? We have access to all of the knowledge in the world. You can be,
Yeah.
in fact,
Possibly.
I love the recitation in Haram. Like just listen there. Oh God, just keep reciting, keep reciting. And I'll be in Nigeria, very far away from Masjid al Haram, but I have access to teachings of Sheikh, all of Sheikhs that they have ever been recorded. I have access, but then the time to check it, I will probably not have it. Why? Because of the thing that what technology itself will introduce to to us, like Facebook, like WhatsApp, like virtual
Yeah.
friends. Because right now, I don't necessarily have to meet people to become friends with them. I can just become friends with them by being virtually present with them. So it's a lot of, I think the way we are as humans is changing and has forever changed actually. And right
Uh,
now we need like a solution to it. So right now, what I want us to talk about is like, what do you think is the solution right now? At least let's come from the perspective of somebody that is trying to keep his ibadah at a very, very good like level. You don't want to fall short. You don't want to fall short at all. And know that ibadah comes in a lot of form. Dua is ibadah, keeping the ties of kinship is ibadah, and a lot of things is also ibadah that we know. So, from the perspective of someone that is trying to keep their ibadah at a very, very confirmed level, what do you think we can do to solve this? Because really, it might be getting out of hand. We even have online sheikhs now, which is a problem. They disseminate very, very bad information. Like, like online sheikhs. Like I'm a sheikh, but in real life, I'm just like you. But online, I will raw do you. If you do any nonsense, I will raw do you. So all of those things. How do we battle all of these
yeah.
things? Because really, so who wants to go?
Okay. Let me go first. I think on the other side, so one thing I try to do personally is I try to put my phone away when I want to do something very serious, like observing solar, doing say reciting the Quran. So I try to put my device away. Like I mean my phone, which is the major point of distraction. Although I have another device which is a tablet, but usually I'm my habit is not to chat or do like those distracting stuff on my tablet. So my tablet is mainly for reading like reading, and then I'll be watching some videos and then doing online calls like this one we are doing right now. So that's one thing that worked for me. So putting that phone away, that phone is extremely accessible.
It
It's just
is
like
so.
it's
It
so
is.
small, pay up, and then by the time you turn it on, when you have notifications on off. I mean, when you open your apps, you actually see the apps, you see the app icons. It's not like you entirely delete app icons, right? When you remove notifications, you don't delete app icons. So it's still
So
like you're
yeah.
still almost on a similar level. So what works for me this time is putting the phone away, and alhamdulillah, it has really worked for me many times,
If a funny one is this thing that we are trying to do, we are trying to use technology to solve the problem that technology has caused. And that is a huge problem because it is like, for example,
Exactly.
put your phone in airplane mode. They will also give you that, okay, you're turning on for 10 minutes. What am I saying? A DOD mode, turning on for 10 minutes. Are you trying to entice me? Leave me alone. I want to recite the Quran. You are reading Quran on your, like, come on. That's why me, I would advise too. If it is the Quran, please have a must have. It's very, very important.
No,
It helps.
no,
like
no.
just throw your phone away. Whoever
Yeah.
says okay, if you have
That
something in
was what.
production, yeah.
As a must have, no, don't just stop at have a must have, because some
Wait,
people want to memorize and they need no chill. Some people want to memorize, but for their memorization to be like enhanced, like myself, at times I want to know the meaning of what I want to memorize, right? And
No.
you know what happens? You know where Shaitan comes in? I have must have that I read from, but now I need to check the memorization. I have to take my phone, right?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
immediately you take your phone to check the memorization, do you know what happens?
No.
Subhanallah.
That's
You get
right.
lost. You can even want to
Yeah.
go and check the explanation of the ayah on YouTube by Sheikh Hassan. Before you know it, you're already watching Yawa
You're already
skits.
watching second one.
Yeah, so apart from, honestly, let's be real here. Apart from having mushaf, it's actually very honest, very good to have a mushaf with translation. My ustad, like my current ustad that I'm doing hifdh with him, he showed me the Quran that I used when he was memorizing Quran back in 2017, I think 2017 or 2019. It was a translated Quran. There is translation. So there is no single reason for you to go and pick your phone.
No.
Do you get the gist? Block away all the distractions. If possible, go to another room, lock Lock your phone in one room, give the key to someone else. Just find a way, just be intentional.
No.
Yeah, you get just find a way to do it.
I want to point out something too, that as much as it sounds like it's easy, it is not actually easy. So you might want
Of
to
course.
make achievable goals for yourself. For
No.
example, myself now, I think the amount of Quran that I recite per day, it varies. It varies a lot. Like there is a
Okay.
benchmark, and it can go more. It's probably not go less. The goal less is that it will never happen that you don't recite in a day. That's it. At least, even if I have to recite from my head, I must try to recite. I must
Okay.
recite, even if it's Roger and stuff. So
Conscious
when you have
recitation,
that
actually.
conscious recitation, like it's not just like
Yeah. You can
No, when you're washing plates.
you can be watching
no,
it
not
and be reciting, and
conscious.
then your
You
mind
can
is in
actually,
OAE.
but conscious.
You are reciting in Kaduna.
So
you're
that
watching places
that way,
again.
one will not feel very bad. One will know that okay, I achieved this goal. Okay, I'm able to recite, and inshallah, may Allah make it easy for me. I want to keep improving that way. So those small goals, and also, to be frank, this one I don't know. This one, some people might actually come from my head though. This Twitter ban that they gave us in Nigeria, I enjoyed it too to an extent too, because why? I have to on VPN to enter Twitter. I am a lazy man. I don't like to on VPN, which means that I will literally not enter Twitter until the midnight when I want to sleep. Then I'll sleep off. So that way too, I don't know how you want to enforce that with other
Mine
apps.
is probably better, right? Because honestly, the ban makes it, obvious to me that I can actually survive without Twitter. Like, honestly, I never thought I would be able to survive without Twitter. Like, you wake up Twitter, before you sleep Twitter, right? You have to engage, you want to get followers, all of those things, you want to put yourself out there. But honestly, got to realize like, oh my God, it's actually possible. So speaking of VPN that you mentioned, I had to like install VPN for my phone, because if I have Twitter on my phone, forget it. Forget it. I'm not lazy enough to not put on VPN on. I'll put it on and I'll check Twitter almost every 5 minutes. So I can even put my VPN on 247. So, but what I do is I just take VPN away from my phone, right? So VPN is away from my phone. It's only on my laptop. So I literally have to open my laptop before I check Twitter. And the funniest thing, my laptop doesn't have a very strong battery. Anyway, let's assume it has very strong battery. The fact that I have to open my laptop to check Twitter, it has honestly reduced, it has reduced how much. So it's about what works for you, right? So some people will probably be on their laptop 247, so it doesn't stop them. So like for me, one of those things that I use, let's talk about practical solution, yeah? Because there's nothing about theory and there's nothing about practical.
So there's this book called Atomic Habits. Have you seen the book have you read a book called Atomic Habits? I can't remember the person who wrote the book. So Atomic Habits is like, you know what an atom is, right? An atom used to be the smallest indivisible particle and element at some point in our lives, right?
Yeah.
You know that.
Oh, has it changed now?
Yeah, the definition has changed now.
So,
one of the main points in the book is that when you want to build a new habit, so one of the tips that the author gave is that make it easy for yourself. Yeah. If you want to build a new habit, make the new habit easy. So if you want to remove a bad habit, make the bad habit difficult, just like you said. So I'm just trying to like connect it to what you said. So when you want to build a new habit, like try to make it easy, right? And you have a bad habit you want to break, just make the bad habit difficult. So one thing is just like you mentioned about using translated Quran. You want to build the habit of getting distracted when you're reciting the Quran. So you make it very difficult for yourself to actually get to your phone by getting a translated Quran. So and you know that when you carry the translated Quran, there's no phone around, right? So you've made it easier for yourself to not get distracted. So
Yeah,
those are
I think
just try to make, just like you also said about reading like a number of pages a day. So when you want to start doing things like that, maybe you want to, your goal is to actually start reading 10 pages a day, right? You don't start with the 10 page on the first day. Because you are just going to crash. You that you've been reading 0.001 page per day. You only read Alif Lam Mim. Even when you face, I'm just saying, it's just hypothetical example, right?
yeah.
Imagine someone that already reads Alif Lam Mim. When they pray Salah, and then supposed to start reading like
It's
10 pages
accepted.
of Quran a day. I mean, so you start, when you start 10 pages a day, you're making it extremely difficult for yourself, right? So you start to make it like maybe half a page today, but like next 2 days, half a page, and then you start adding maybe one line. Yeah, whichever way.
Yeah, I think I have there's an
Very
hadith. Yeah, I understand very well. There's an hadith to that effect, self, that says that Allah loves deeds that are not the size but the frequency, that they are small and they are
best deeds are consistent ones, even if it's small.
The
best is that consistent ones, even if it's small.
We tend to overlook those things, unfortunately. That is very, very painful. When we open a lot of let's say the books that they write dua, and they tell you the advantages, maybe in a hadith. If you just take one and you stick to it and you are very, very consistent with it, when you look at your, we'll reach there first before we see what you have amassed. But then, may God help us. So another thing that I want to talk about is like, this is a very hard one. And because I kind of like tried it and it didn't really work out for me, I might just put it out there, Sha. That you might want to review what you have subscribed to. I wanted to delete my Facebook a while ago because Facebook was a source of anxiety for me for some very, very crazy reasons. I don't want to start discussing that right now. It's a bullshit platform. I'm very sorry. But then Twitter thought like, come on, why?
You can use
it depends on what you are using it for.
Relatively, it actually depends on what you.
It depends on what you are using it for.
So you can
the thing about reviewing the people. Look at what happens with Facebook. Actually, Facebook was maybe the first platform that many of us joined, right? So when you joined Facebook, you were like an absolute newbie. You just want friends. You want to accept friend requests. You want to have everybody on your friend list. You are competing. It's like where we had to go, expert and everything. You want to have the highest number of friends. So, and that's the issue, right? You've had a lot of stuff. I don't say useless. No, people that are useless to you, not like useless. You get what I'm saying? People that are like completely irrelevant to you.
And just use the word relatively to save yourself.
Yeah, relatively, right? To you, sure you get. So that's the thing. I don't want to sound a bit. You get the point. People are like irrelevant to you personally, relatively to you. So you have a lot of them, 200 or 300 of them. So it's actually good, like Taiwo mentioned, like just sit down one day. Like it happens to me, YouTube. There were sometimes I got so obsessed with YouTube that, wallah, it was like just destroying my life, small. Apart from my waste data, right, I spent all my money to buy data, spent all the time on YouTube. One day I just woke up like, what's actually wrong with me? I just sat down like, oh, why am I even subscribed to this guy? Why am I subscribed to this guy? Why am I subscribed? I actually emptied out my subscription list, and honestly, it changed because I started checking new videos, and now the videos being recommended actually align with stuff I want. Not stuff I wanted last 2 years or last 3 years. Now the new stuff I actually want right now. So, and that's actually a very awesome suggestion, honestly.
Like Nika lecture, something like that.
Come on. Why should I be listening to the character now? Anyway, so another practical solution that comes to my mind. We're talking about FOMO, right? Fear of missing. I don't know if you guys have mentioned it while I was cut off.
Yeah,
So
we mentioned it.
push notification issues. Did you
Oh,
guys
okay, we
mention
didn't
that?
mention that. We didn't mention that.
That's a very push notification, and having all your WhatsApp list unmuted. So there are two different. Push notification is a message enters, pam pam. That's push notification. That's worse. That's like the worst thing you can have for your Facebook, for your WhatsApp, unless for some special people like your parents, that you want to like respond to them ASAP immediately you get a message from them. So, but like having it for all people, for like everyone, that's like very terrible. Push notification, pam pam pam. And there's another one that everyone uses, and that's terrible too. Is default. All your friend lists are unmuted. So when a message enters, there is this bubble that comes on top of WhatsApp, right? So if it's a priority notification, it shows the preview of the message. You already see you don't check your WhatsApp, but you already see the preview of your message. You are curious, you want to go and see what's up.
I'm
So
not
like
curious
honestly,
though.
just unmute everyone except
Or
few
just
people that
mute
are
everyone.
maybe your wife or your husband, your dad, your mom, maybe your co-workers or anything. And on weekends, make use of DND. Just try and our life is already revolving around social media. So anytime you get the opportunity, just block it away. You are not going to lose out anything. To be honest, look at Twitter now. Are we not surviving?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you survive it, everything is not going to collapse. You are going to survive, but you want to be in the information loop. And this issue of subjective well-being, right? Life satisfaction. If you are in Nigeria right now, wallahi, if you are too obsessed with social media, you cannot be happy. Am I wrong?
Thank you. Thank
Because
you.
there is news of kidnapping today, news
Yeah.
of stealing tomorrow, news of sudden death, news of one health center not being responsible. All of those things are just messed up. So if you keep yourself at the center of the information loop, you want to know what's going on in the north, east, west, south, up and down, everywhere. You just realize that you wake up every day like, God, why do I? You just want to wake up in London, the next day. You feel very terrible for just being alive. You are not grateful for what you have. You are not grateful for existing, because every day you are being fed with information, and the only information that is out there today is negative. Even if there is positive, people will not put out nobody will amplify positive news, right? Someone
Yeah,
gave
negative
birth,
news,
nobody will
right?
amplify it. Something happened that is in Nigeria that is good. People will look for a way to twist that and turn it to something bad. At the end of the day, your life is messed up, honestly.
It is. It
Yes.
is.
It's
It is
terrible. Your
like
satisfaction in life
It's
will
the
go to
same,
zero.
right?
At the end of the day, you get depressed. That's why many people commit suicide.
which is
You
one
know, you
thing I
get
want to raise one thing.
it's a very
Like
terrible
just
problem.
what Abdullah just said now reminded me of something. Like the fact that the bulk of our friends now, the bulk of our friends are virtual, they're online. Even the physical ones, we have a virtual version of them. It has made our validation revolve around virtual things. It's very, very crazy, which is why I want to stress this one. Like, please make physical friends, make physically good friends, please. And if you are not a friend maker, it's okay. Your the ones that you have and your parents, please physically approach them, visit them, talk to them. Don't call your parents when you have the lot. You can go and meet them and talk to them face to face. Don't call your wife. Don't message her when you can actually just go and meet her. Maybe 5 minutes walk or 10 minutes, even good for your body and your heart. Now, if we don't necessarily substitute these interactions, what way do you show to someone that you actually care for them? You think it's by sending hello, I love you in the morning? No, you have to really show it. And how do you show it? Talk to them, look into their eyes if you can. If you cannot, look on the floor. Don't look at people that you're not supposed to look at. Because I know that but that
Like,
one. So
bro.
please. But the point is that those physical interactions, if you want to learn the Quran, if you can learn it physically, it's very, very great. But if not, you can do it virtually too. But that physical interaction, there is almost nothing that can actually replace it. And we should not try, because as a software developer myself, we will continue to invent new ways by which we can recreate physicality in the virtual
Yeah.
form, which will always affect us. And then the more we try to, go ask Facebook. Zuckerberg use Facebook. He probably does, but not as much as you do. So those are the things that I think we can also inculcate in our life. Talk to your dad. Talk to him about his experience. Talk to your parent. Talk to your mother. Talk to your sister, your friends. hang out, go and eat. Don't stay online and be abusing one person that's in the US that God doing. No. Unfortunately, I hope people will follow it. I hope so. At this point, we have lost Abdullah. It will come back, but
Yeah.
I think we should start rounding up now. So, do you have
Yeah.
like anything to say on the closing level? We have
Oh
around 3
yeah.
minutes left.
Let me just add one or two things. So earlier when we were mentioning why people have become distant from themselves, like especially we youths, like I think our parents are more connected on their own level than we are connected, right? So one might be quick to say, some people might say it's the fault of the children, and some other people would argue that it's the fault of your parents. But nevertheless, putting the blame or shifting blame wouldn't solve any of the problems, right? I think we just need to realize what the problem is. And as this common saying goes, that the first step in solving a problem is actually knowing the problem, like figuring out that this is the problem. You know, you can't solve a problem you don't know, right? Can you solve a problem you don't know? You can't solve a problem you don't know. So you need to know the problem. Okay, this is the problem. And this is why this is a problem. Because what is a problem to somebody may not be a problem to another person, right? And and figure out like, okay, this is what I need to solve the problem. Yeah. Figuring the problem is like fundamental to solving any problem, which is very important. And then
Right.
also there's this Netflix documentary, about the whole social media problem and all. I can't remember the title of the documentary. I remember the title of the documentary. I think I've shared the documentary with you. Yeah, so the documentary is just about like social media and technology and what has become of us today because of technology, social media, and all. Yeah. So the people that like spoke in that documentary or the people that were interviewed are like guys that work in some companies like Facebook, Pinterest, Google. Yeah. So quite interesting that those guys could say things that they said in the interview. One of the things that I picked out from my interview was there was this guy from, I think the guy worked at Pinterest for some time. So the guy mentioned like his kids don't use social media. When he said it, I was quite shocked. Like, okay, like you guys are the ones making these things, and your own children don't use this thing. And that is because they understand the level of damage those things cause, right? Imagine the guys that make it. Imagine the guys that make these things. Imagine that they are not using their own children are not using them. Just imagine. That's quite crazy, right? Let me see if I can get the name of the documentary and or can Abdullah remember the name of the documentary, the next week's documentary?
Are you talking about the social dilemma?
Yeah, exactly, the social dilemma.
Yeah.
That's the name of the documentary.
So Abdullah, we are giving closing remarks.
I think everybody should check that out.
Social dilemma. Closing remarks. Yeah, honestly, I think, if we tabasoba, how do you say that in English?
Say it's go, if you say it's come.
If you say it's go, if you say it's come. But at the end of the day, this is stranger's perspective, right? So you realize Islam as solution for everything.
Yep. I think it's just in a nutshell. The word is in a nutshell.
Yeah, in a nutshell. Thank you. Tabasoba, in a nutshell. So, like, honestly, I would just like, there is some hadith. Go ahead.
I think I prefer if you say it's good, if you say it's come.
there are two hadiths, throughout this discussion, there are two hadiths that are, how do you say that? That are occurring in my brain. That come to my mind. Two hadiths. One of them, I checked them out. One of them says, let me see if I can find those two hadiths. So it says there are two favors. This hadith says there are two favors from Allah Azza wa Jal, that many people do not make the most out of. So one is good health and the other is free time, right? And if you connect this hadith with the other hadiths of the Prophet, that you should take advantage of 5 before 5, right? So take advantage of, when you're young, right? Before you become old, your youth before old age, take advantage of your health before your illness. So because life is, it's like a circle. If you are healthy today, you are not healthy tomorrow. If you are young today, you'll be old tomorrow. If you are free today, you think you have all the time in the world. Tomorrow you'll be busy. So, take advantage of your riches before your poverty. There are sometimes that you don't just have money, right? No matter how rich you are, that just sometimes you just like broke, like what's going on. So take advantage of your free time before your work. Look at that hadith. Take advantage of your free time before your work. So, and take advantage of your life before your death. So, and that life before death, like, summarize everything. I think Ibrahim posted the status a few weeks ago, like, a lot of people in the grave right now, they died having a lot of things in mind, that, okay, I was going to do this, I was going to do this, I was going to do that. And that doesn't, Balakul more doesn't care. You just you just come and take your soul. So, if you wake up someone from their grave now and ask them about, what they have in mind, like, they probably have more in mind than we are still alive, right? So you just have to, like, take advantage of these things. So you think you are free, you think you are young. I'm young, I'm going to become more serious when I become old. I'm going to start, shunning away from Isbal. I'm going to start taking care of my parents when I start earning 100 million. These things, they don't work like this, right? You just have to start with whatever you have. You are young, make use of that young time. Don't spend the whole of your life on video games, on playing and all of that. Start doing things that's going to be useful for your life. Like the hadith of Prophet, like, strive for ihris ala ma yanfa'uk. Right? That's like my closing remark. Ihris ala ma yanfa'uk. I've forgotten the hadith, the word in itself. What it says is that be dutiful on what is going to be useful for you. What is going to benefit you. Strive for what is going to benefit you. Then after then, you can now rely on Allah. So, don't be lazy. Don't be a lazy man. Don't just sit down and waste all your life and without achieving anything. And at the end of the day, you say, this person that has achieved that is luck, and that person is luck, and that person is luck, and, and just, it's Allah's qadar. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to be hardworking. You have to manage your time. You have to, shun away distractions and just focus on, and not like you should not enjoy yourself at all, but, do the right thing, at the right time.
Thank you very much, Abdullah. That's not very short, but yeah, it's quite concise. So I'll add my own to
something to what you said before you.
All right.
This is just on a lighter note, though. So this is because I'm currently a PhD student, right? So I would say take advantage of your BSc before your PhD.
All the best.
Yeah. Honestly, wait. Let's add that. Let's add that.
Yeah, take advantage of your BSc before your PhD. I wouldn't say more than that. I think it's
a word is enough for
the
BSc student. For the BSc student. Yeah, makes sense.
For the wise BSc student. So for me, I think there's really, I would probably say they have exhausted everything to say.
So your network decided to fluctuate.
But I will also add to this, and that is that hadith that we spoke about. That hadith, that is the fact that Allah loves consistent deeds, however small they might be. And if we make intentional effort towards solving some things in our lives, I think, and we pray to Allah to aid us, I believe we can make a lot of it. As we might appear strange to people, like, you are in the 21st century now, why would you be clamoring for physical, why would you be clamoring for, no, we are Muslims, and this is what Islam has, what Allah has enjoined that we do, and we know that in it lies our success, for here and in the hereafter. So that's basically all I have to say for today. I hope everyone.
No way. I think there is one liner that we need to use to end it, like a summary of the whole thing. So, and I'm going to represent you guys. If I'm going to just correct me, is that you should start reconnecting with your ibadah, start reconnecting with your family, start reconnecting with your neighbor and everyone, start reconnecting with yourself. Your health.
Yeah.
Great time to sleep, great time to eat good food and all of that, and just be more physically present. And be more physically present, not virtually present. Yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that even covered quite a lot of things that we didn't even talk about in the podcast. So I believe, the word is cool. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening in on this episode of Stranger's Perspective. I hope you have learned one thing or two from what we've been able to discuss, and I hope that it will help you in traversing this life. Thank you, and have a nice day. Bye.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
عليكم السلام.
بإسلامي وإيماني أضاء الكون وزمن بإسلامي وإيماني أضاء الكون وزمن